ultimately, they will be responsible for the build of Bayside Travel Centre. Bayside Travel Centre is roughly a $3.3 million build. It's going to be approximately 16,000 square feet. And so it's going to be a big facility. One of the things through the planning phases we wanted to do as a council was to ensure that it's constructed on time, on budget. And these are the people to deliver it to us, Lindsay Construction. The other reason we decided to go with a general contractor is time constraints. You know, we want to have this up and open as soon as possible. And what we found out is when you have a general contractor on site, they do this on a day-to-day basis. I mean, Lindsay is a growing company, and they have done a number of similar builds like this. I sat in on a number of discussions with them, with our engineering firm that is handling this, Hatch. And through their experience, they know what they need, what we need to do. And they are in the process of ordering things, getting things ready, things of that nature. So I'm really excited that we're having this opportunity, because one of the main things that we thought about is it's great to have development and construction for phase 1 of the highway development project, Bayside Travel Centre. And but it's another thing to have a lot of our community members involved within that development, with the build. And you know, phase 1 is one component, but there will be other phases as well in the future. So I'm really glad they've been reaching out. They want to have as many, you know, community members participating within this build as possible. And I'm so glad to see you all out here today. Great. I'm going to hand it over to Rose to provide any further comments before we get into Lindsay providing some details on this.
Good afternoon. Well, das one Dr. Bijdayo. Aka Neen Rose. Aka Grudleway Kinek Wijdyke. Dandel de Paqtnkek. Aka Dandel Mawalugudi Snook. Chitandla Muktido. Which Karamig. Chikigamanuk. Just want to say thank you for being here, and definitely this has been a community movement along with myself and the chief and council, where the community had come out and supported this project. And today we're very happy to finally have here with us our design and build contracting team that went through a very competitive bidding process through a request for contractor services that will be undertaken here for Bayside Travel Centre. We're here today in hopes that many of the memberships in the community will come forward and really take advantage of the jobs and the experience, and also the partnerships and connections you guys can make to fulfill your work experience and to maybe further grow at Lindsay as we work together in partnership. We do have a very, very tight timeline. A lot of our timeline was taken from us over the fall when we're trying to get our grades done, and the rain and stuff really delayed that, but we are back on schedule. We're in construction wise. I mean, like, there was some people in this room that worked under extensive weather to fulfill that contract for us, and I want to thank you guys for that, and ladies, if they're here as well. Our team is a very large team, but we work together. We meet weekly in Halifax over the phone or face-to-face. Our design team, which Lindsay is part of right now, we will have, with our communications crew, a release of what the floor plan is going to look like. So right now, we've actually got the floor plan secured. It's gone in. Those floor plans will, of course, will go into our construction crew. They'll order all the steam and get the foundation in. One great thing is that the community expresses that we want to be as green as we can be. So one great feature about our building is that we are going to have geothermal. And we're going to be looking at also having our windows where they will provide like cool in the summer and heat in the summer. We're trying to be as self-sufficient when it comes to energy as possible. Those are some of the great features. Like the chief said, we did go from a 12,000 or 10,000 square foot plan into a 16,000 square foot plan, which will entail our 2 quality service restaurants, our convenience store, our long haul trucking, our truckers lounge, our tourism bureau, another store that we're just working on right now, and our gaming facility. So we're rebuilding our gaming facility, which will be relocated and rebuilt back up at Bayside Travel Centre. Chief also mentioned that this is about a $3.3 million project. We are really looking forward in getting you guys to help us to fulfill these timelines that we have, and working at least on an August date. Howie will get into a little bit, but as we go through the day, and you guys can work directly with us, we have Lindsay's HR team here as well. Lindsay's HR team will be taking in the resumes. We're going to bring laptops down here to help anyone clean up any of their resumes if they haven't done so already, but I'm sure you guys are all here and all ready to go. And over the next few days, that's going to be the bulk of the work here, is making sure our skilled laborers and our skilled workers are part of this project. I think we're going to have a rendering done by this week. The rendering will be something like what the community seeing, like the drive-through, like, you know, how the roads are going to look and the over-ramp. Well, this is just going to be an addition where you guys will actually see the building going up and our signage and where the signage is going to be located on the road and whatnot. Also, we'll be getting ready to get our signage up on the highway, which is a 90-foot panel lit up sign that will showcase our development. I'm not going to try to talk to construction talk. That's why we have him here. So he's going to talk a little bit about how the employment planning is going to take effect, and how you guys can work with us and Lindsay to help the community members or anybody that's interested in working on this project.
Thank you, Rose, Chief Prosper, and other council persons in attendance. We really appreciate this opportunity to be here and speak to the community at large on this awesome project that we're about to engage in. A little bit about Lindsay. Like Chief Prosper said, we're a growing company. We've been around only for about 60 years, but the last really 5 to 6 we've really taken off. So we've got a good depth. We have our own structural engineering, CAD department. We self-perform virtually all our own carpentry. So part of the project here is going to be the foundations and the tilt-up, which will be a little bit labor intensive. So that's gives a great place for the community to be involved, where we can hire local people to help with the build. And if you guys think anything, if you got any questions at any time, just shoot them out to us so we can answer as we're going along. During the process of this tender that came out was a construction management. So that is a unique opportunity that the community can be involved on the day-to-day aspects of the job in awarding tenders and design. So it's not a lump sum where it's all designed and then thrown out and you get prices. So we really are working for the community. You're our boss. So the development itself, like I said, is going to be tilt up. That's a concrete construction where we stand the panels. Very durable. Goes up, the building will go up very fast. Yeah, kind of skipped over some stuff here, but part of the back on the Lindsay update, I guess you want to call it. We're a large company. We're all through the Maritimes, PEI, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, of course, Nova Scotia. We have about 400 people employed out in the field as carpenters and laborers. So there's lots of opportunity within our company. We strive for a high performance. We expect the best from our people, and our product is expected to be the best. Part of that is our field staff, which I have some here. Jamie Swallow at the end, he's going to be our site super. He's the day-to-day. He's the guy running the show. He's the real boss on the job. And of course, Nicole represents our safety, which is paramount with our company. Our rule is whatever parts you came into the job with, you're going to leave with the same parts. So they'll drill down their roles and responsibilities. Of course, I have Angela here. She's director of HR. So she develops our employment policies. And like she said, she'll be working along with Dana, helping with some resumes, taking resumes, and developing plans, especially working with subcontractors, how they're going to come in and do parts of the job that we just can't do. They're specific to, electricians, plumbers, whatnot. So make sure that's engaged. So the Bayside Travel Centre. So really our role, the chief went into it a little bit. We are the guys on site every day, people on site, sorry Nicole. So we're on site every day, and we are the quality assurance, we're the safety. Jamie picks up detail issues and he knows who to ask to get the right questions. So we're here to work for you to make sure this gets done on time and on budget.
We'll have consistent points of contact, so at least I know from an employment perspective, Josie and I will keep in very close contact, and the project team as well. We'll all keep in close contact with each other. Another thing that we want to do is build a resume pipeline. So that's part of what we're doing today. So we have Dana and Josie sitting to the side there. And so I know I chatted with a couple of people at the beginning just to say if anyone wants resume assistance or anybody has a resume to hand in. Dana is the lady and Josie over there as well. But even after today, the plan is for me to keep in contact with Josie, and then any resumes that come into her, she'll get to me as time goes on. And so, Howie, maybe I'll ask you to talk a little bit more about this in a second, but in terms of our field positions, we have a union representative here who can speak a little bit about what that experience is like. So for our carpentry positions, it's easy to feed those resumes into Lindsay Construction. Then there's the subcontractor piece, and Howie had mentioned the plan was for us to still collect those resumes and submit them actually with tender packages to our subcontractors. So that's the plan of how we'll get a lot of those resumes through to our subcontractors when that time comes. So that's actually great. The resumes will just go with the package, so they'll already be there. So the sooner you get them to us, I would say the better. And then another thing that we want to do, or that we've committed to doing, in addition to ongoing communication, is at the end of this project to kind of come together and say, well, okay, here's the project that we did, but how, I'm sure it won't be perfect, and what can we do better next time? So just to kind of learn from anything that happened along the way in order to make improvements for all of us moving forward. So that's really what I hope that we can do, and what, as a company, that's what Lindsay's committed to doing, and how we would like to kind of approach our partnership here. So Howie, on that, anything more that you would like to say in terms of subcontractors or?
Jamie and myself had a discussion last week, and we put some numbers together around the trades for site personnel, just so we can set expectations, so everybody in the community is aware of the size of the crew sizes that would be expected to do a building this size. So carpenters, first of all, because we're the first ones in the mud and probably ones of the last ones out the door. To start this building off, we're looking at approximately a 6-man crew to put the foundation in and build the tilt panels. And these numbers are complete numbers. So if in a perfect world, we'd need 2 trained men or people that know the tilt system, how to do tilt, and then others could come in as apprentices or journeyman carpenters, however that mix is. And following through the job, the foundation tilt up would go, and during that, after the tilt up, the iron workers would come in, and that's between a 3 to 5 man crew. And then once they go away, the panels, we can release the braces, and then all the other trades come in. Before the slab goes in, of course, we have electrical and plumbers would come in and do their underground work, and each of those trades would be about a 2-man crew, 2-man plumbing crew to get the underground and do the rest of the plumbing, a 2-man electrical crew. And then once we get that up, we're into drywall, which would be about a 3 to 5 person crew. And then roofing, we'd have roofers 4 to 6. It's a flat roof system. We haven't really designed what type of roof it is. And then the other trades, like 2 to 3 people working on glazing because it's got a nice storefront on it. Probably 2 painters. And flooring, 2 to 3 people installing flooring throughout the facility. So that's about the numbers that'll be coming in. So community engagement would depend on who has experience and who can do what. Of course, we're going to try to get as many members from this community involved. But we want to have this as a learning experience. We're greedy, to be honest. We've done other jobs, like in Guysborough we just finished, and we had a real hard time finding manpower. So we need trained people. We need people that we can take to Guysborough, to Antigonish, to the other big jobs, and that's why Gordy Jacobs is here with the Carpenters Union too. They're looking for good people to fill roles because there are large projects coming, and we want to keep it local first. The people that live here should be getting the jobs, and that's how we're basing our approach to identify good key people and drag them along with us. So if we pick up another job in Guysborough, we have a resource base. We can make a phone call. Someone's coming from Afton. They're not coming from Pictou County or Halifax. And that's what we want to see. So anybody have any questions?
Lindsay's a unionized company.
Yep.
And the project is taking long reserve.
Yep.
What is the process of individuals interested to be employed, get the papers in, union dues, what is the process?
That's gonna be part of Gordy's, because everybody's situation is gonna be different. There is a process in place, and Gordy will go through it, that if we can't find people within the union in the local area, there's a correct me when I'm wrong, Gordy, but there's a process in there for there's a certain time that you can work not under the union umbrella, a probationary period, and the timeline's 6 months. So that's the life of this project. So we drank the Kool-Aid. We're a union company. We see the benefits of being union. All these big jobs that are coming out are definitely going to be unionized jobs, and this is the area where you can. And I'm not doing Gordy's sales pitch, but I'm really being proactive, thinking down the line for people that want to work. It's better, you want to be in front of the line instead of joining the line once it starts forming. And this is the opportunity to get in front of the line.
So the positions you identified, which ones prioritize the union?
Carpenters were unionized, so self-performed. We'd really, It all depends on the level of experience, because this is a tilt. I know there's only been one tilt, I think, done in the community. And I don't think I'm going to pull him out of retirement to work on it. But like I said, we're probably looking at 2 experienced people with 4 other people that can learn the process, because it's not rocket science. It's really fun. And of course, with the foundation that goes in. Now, the electricians, we're signatory to the carpenters, so electricians, that'll be going out as a sub-trade package. That might end up being union, it might not. The plumbers, same thing. So we're just concerned, the unionized aspect really in our eyes that we're trying to keep happy is Gordy, because we have a close relationship with the carpenters union. The other ones probably won't be unionized because they're just where we're at. Go ahead.
To lift up the tilt, you can use the crane.
Yes.
So what would be the chances of me myself, like I took the course of crane operator, getting the experience?
Actually, we reached out to, and I can't remember the name of them, to start getting some interest in it through, they're out of Escazone. They started their own crane company. I think it's Mi'kmaq Crane, I think. Now, that would be the responsibility of the sub-trade, but we'd take your resume and make sure they have a resume there that a local person has experience. So you might not be running the crane, but you might get a job as the rigger, which, yeah, perfect. I wasn't expecting someone with crane experience, so that's excellent. That's the whole purpose of this.
Those hours count.
Oh, absolutely.
You're rigging under him and you're out.
Yep, yep. So that's the process. That's why we want to take all the resumes. So when we put trade packages out, there's no excuse for the sub-trades to say, well, we couldn't find anybody local. No, we gave you 6 names. Did you call them all? Did you talk to all of them? We're putting the responsibility back on them, but we're going to be the taskmaster. We're going to be the ones cracking the whip on them. We want.
Sir, but I have my crane, but I don't have my Class 3A, so I can't join the union.
Well, these guys I don't believe are unionized. The only ones that we're really concerned are with the carpenters, because like I said, we want a good workforce, future workforce for Lindsay, and Gordy wants a good workforce for his union. So for future projects, I know that. Cover your ears, Gordy. I'm not really concerned about the other unions because we're tied. Yeah, no, you're not ruled out because you're not in the union. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Ron?
I was wondering about all the rest, like that's important. Would there be a course put on?
That would be a safety question, but yes, we are responsible for training, and Gordy's going to come up to the Carpenters Union also as I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I will. They have a training facility. They can offer training. We offer training. So if we hire somebody and we need you trained, we train you. It would be community members, we need your resumes and put it out. So if the tenders go out and it's a unionized electrician that wins the bid, and there's not many around Antigonish that are unionized as far as the electrical union, they still have to play by the same rules that we are. They have to engage the community. It's probably the electricians, to be upfront, probably are not going to be unionized just because they're not here. There's not a big bulk. You have to get closer up into New Glasgow Truro area before the union weighs in on the electrical. So it'll be your local guys, and that's where if there's going to be 2 men on site and you have an electrician, apprentice or journeyman, they have to. We're going to give them the resume, and they have to call and make sure they reached out to the community member and gave the community member a chance first. Of course, they're going to have their foreman here, the guy that's been with them, that knows how the job should run from the company aspect. So we expect if there's 2 men and there's electricians from community. The other one should be an electrician. Yeah. And that's part of our role to make sure everybody's living up. Yeah. Do you have a company? Do you have a company? Well, you'd be able to bid on it as a tender. It's not, yep. But usually a company's not going to come in and just hire 2 guys to do the work. There's always the foreman. Yeah. So one would be the foreman. Yeah. And we've already reached out to some plumbing companies and said, because I knew Paqtnkek has some good plumbers. I've worked here. I'm from down the road. I know who's around, and I've reached out and I've already given them the heads up that, you know the guys are there, and the guys I talked to said, I already know who I want to hire. So they know the plumbers are here too. So, yeah, get us the resumes. Those will go in the tender packages. Yeah. Yeah, Rose just remind me, like, we're always looking for good people. So, like, Jamie, and we always like to kind of identify like a site foreman. He's the superintendent. So if we go in our carpentry crew and somebody really shines in that crew that's responsible, that if Jamie has to step away from site, they can engage the crew and make sure the safety's kept up, the production's kept up, nothing goes awry. They can get on the phone with Jamie, and he's the trusted person, or she's the trusted person. And also having someone local is great, because we were asked by the band and council to do time-lapse photography on this. So the site's going to be under surveillance. So at the end of the project, there's going to be like a 3-minute video of nothing to open. They were very clear they wanted that. So if there is an issue on site, we have somebody that can walk the site instead of Jamie driving a half hour to get here. So it's very important that if we can identify somebody that can play a leadership role, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
So is there going to be work with pipe fitters?
Pipe fit, that would fall under the plumbing trade. Yeah.
Well, you have to start with apprenticeship in plumbing, because I'm a pipe fitter, but I don't have no plumbing.
Yeah. So the yeah, but typically the pipe fitting trade falls under a plumber subcontractor, but it's geothermal, so it's mainly the heat will be covered under the plumbing trade. There's not really any process piping in the building. Underground, no, nothing within the building. Now I don't know. We're not taking care of the petroleum side as of right now, and I don't know what's involved with.
I would think there would be some crossover there between fitters and plumbers.
Yeah.
Especially if it's on there.
You'd have to work under the contractor that has jurisdiction on that. So you, being a fitter, might work under the people that are doing the petroleum side, which currently right now we're just taking care of the building itself, and the petroleum is coming in. So there's, like Jamie said, there's going to be a little bit of crossover, but it's questions like that we have to figure out. But we definitely would take the resume and have it on. It would go out as part of tender packages. So if it does come out that the petroleum's on our side, if it gets switched and the band wants us to handle it, then definitely we'll forward that on to the trades that cover that off. Yeah.
Hi guys, girls. My name's Jamie. I'm going to be the superintendent on this site. I guess Angela's asked me to speak a little bit about working on site. Those of you that have been on site already know that part. I've been a carpenter now for, I guess, 40 years, superintendent for the last 8-10 years. I guess when you come through the gate, I'm the first smiling face that you get to see in the mornings. So as far as being a carpenter goes, it's a little bit of everything. From you're going to start in the mud, and then to be a good, diverse carpenter, you're going to wind up putting the baseboard on as well. I think there's a shortage. I know Gordy's going to talk some more about this. It's a great opportunity for anybody that's thinking that carpentry is a trade they wanted to pursue. I don't think you could pick a better time, especially for younger folks to get in now, get into an apprenticeship program, be it through the union or not. And this could be a great opportunity to find out if that is in fact what you want to do. But, that's about all. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Do you know when the next carpentry meeting will be,
I think Gordy's going to have his. Oh, sorry. I didn't think I even needed it, Richard. I can find out. If not, Gordy will speak to it as soon as he gets a chance at the mic. That's about it, guys. I mean, like I said, for the folks that have resumes here, then they've probably already got a pretty good idea what a job site's like. The carpentry side of thing. The one thing that is schedule, I know that was brought up, it's going to be a rain or shine job. So it's the pressure's going to be on, from what I've been understanding. So it's that part of it, as far as timelines and stuff, is probably going to be fairly tough. The other big thing is safety. Safety's got to start the day. It's got to finish the day. I know Nicole's going to talk a little bit about that. That's the other huge part of the whole thing.
So first of all, thanks for having us here. I'm really excited to be a part of this project in particular because it's just got a good feel to it. Like it's an opportunity for this community to grow, and I want to make sure from a safety perspective that that it's the most successful, from a safety perspective. The last thing that I would want to see is, somebody, driving by that site and knowing that something horrible happened to their parent or, their brother, et cetera. So safety is paramount, and it will be, from the minute you get in the morning until basically your last conversation in the day. One of the things that we do a little differently at Lindsay's is we require our guys to have 3 meetings a day. So first thing in the morning, you roll up on site. You sit in with the site superintendent and you do your daily work plan and your risk assessment. At that point, you kind of identify what's going on in the day, what subs are on site, what safety concerns are there, and then put your controls in place and go to work. Right after lunchtime, you have another quick conversation. Everybody good? Any new hazards, etc. And then at the end of the day, you'll check in again to make sure that everybody's as fit for home as they were for work in the morning. Yeah.
Will you have any of us people working on you? Safety?
Well, every site requires a safety rep, so that would usually be one of the laborers or carpenters. They'd get a little bit of a safety familiarization training through either myself or my colleague Chelsea. So we just kind of sit down and explain what your role is as a safety rep on site. And it's really the person who the guys would go to or the girls would go to if they have concerns that they need addressed. So.
No, but wouldn't there be anybody working on you?
I don't think so on this site. Like, I think I'll be the primary safety officer and Chelsea would be as well, but not full time.
If there's a family issue, medical emergency, or somebody with a wife, child, husband, we understand that. You're not going to be penalized for that. But Nicole touched on the meeting in the morning, so it's very important to be there. I always say if you're not early, you're late. When I had a tool pouch on, I was always at work 15, 20 minutes early. I finished my coffee, I chatted with the boys, and at 7 o'clock, out the door, running. So that's why we need that kind of engagement where the safety can be covered off, because if you're 5 minutes late, you're holding up 5 other guys. So 500 guys, people, personnel, multiplied by the wage, you just cost your community by being 15 minutes late $200, right? So the math doesn't work for your community, doesn't work for your subcontractors that are going to be there. It just can't happen, right?
Like your verbal warning, and then your written, and then suspension, and then dismissal. But then depending on the severity of an infraction, it could be, instant instances. I've handed out several instant suspensions, so You know, it's safety especially we take very seriously when it comes to working from heights, etc. And just the general rules as well, which Jamie would go over during an orientation process with you guys.
Exactly. So at the start, there is an orientation process. Everybody watches a video, and then we go into pretty good detail about the expectations and what can happen if those aren't met.
The design, actually right now, what time is it? In a half an hour, our project manager is meeting with Hatch. They're the designers. So they're hopefully finalizing the design on the panels. And by Friday, we're supposed to have drawings that can go out for the structural steel. And if they live up to our expectations, the tenders will be going out, and we could be starting in 2 to 3 weeks. We'll be in the ground, starting with the foundation. They're in pretty good shape. I didn't stop in and take a look, but I know Jamie's been keeping an eye. So they've been working around where the building's going. Yeah, so they're not going to hold. It doesn't look like they're going to hold us up at all. So it's good.
Actually did the gravel in too, didn't they?
Yep. Yeah, the gravel. It's going to be we're not going to be. Usually we're used to walking around site with 6 inches of mud on our boots. With up there, all the gravel, it's going to be a treat for us to work on site. Yeah. Put it this way: if you show up to site and you don't have a hard hat or safety glasses, we can provide that. Yeah, we're not going to turn somebody away because they forgot their glasses or hard hat or safety vest. Yeah.
Like basically, how many laborers would be on site?
It depends. Typically, the laborers would work with the carpenters and masons the most. Right now, we're still working through design, so it doesn't look like there's going to be much masonry, so it's mainly carpenters. We're probably looking at 1 laborer to work with the carpenter crew because it's mainly going to be carpentry driven. Yeah. No, laborers climb and do stuff that needed. Hopefully, there's going to be some tilt patch. There might be some tilt patch. We're covering up most of the tilt, so that usually gets given to the labor to do. It falls in the concrete side, but we'll have to train them how to do that, him or her. Yeah.
Hello, thanks for having me here. I'm Gordon Jacobs. I'm the president of the Atlantic Canada Regional Council of Carpenters. We represent carpenters, millwrights, and scaffolders. In this job here, it's only going to be carpenters unless scaffolding is needed. Scaffolding is not end scaffolding, it's tube and clamper or systems or something like that. My region is Cape Breton. Jeff Richardson looks after mainland Nova Scotia, and he is out of town today, so he asked me to come up. Again, thanks for having me. Contractors and the unions, it's not like it was years ago.
He's trying to get your attention. So
I'm sorry. There. You probably don't want me on film anyway. I'm not. Our relationships with our contractors is quite a bit different than it was, say, 20, 30 years ago. We're partners. Making a profit's not a bad thing, but our members have to produce. That's quite huge. Now, everybody has a bad day, and including the contractor and myself and our workers. So we work through that. Productivity is huge, though, and safety is even huger. Getting on to safety, we do all occupational health and safety training for Nova Scotia. We do it for Newfoundland and also Alberta. That's where our members travel to. We do have skills training. It's hard to get our members out to take our skills training, but it is there available. We do the training for the carpenters. Now, if Lindsay's called or anybody from the band up here and needs safety training, we'll never see anybody stuck, whether it's another trade or not. Safety is huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger as the years go by. So that's priority. Productivity, like I said, if we can put courses on to help, I know Halifax has a course for tilt-ups. Now, 2 or 3 weeks before you start that, I don't know if there's enough time to do that, but we can certainly look into it. Being a member of the union, a lot of people are members just for the safety, just the access for it. There's a small life insurance for it, just being a member in good standing. And speaking of benefits, we do have great benefits. My wife's a school teacher. Our benefits are better than hers. Pension, we have a great pension plan. They're maxed out at 18%. Young people don't like pensions because they want their money in their hand, but it's when you get older. I got 30 years in the trade, and I'm looking forward to the day that I retire. So our benefits are great. Our training, I think, is second to none. Our main training center in North America is in Las Vegas. We bring our members down. Our third-year members go down. They see what skills we have to offer, safety, and mostly important is what's expected of them, productivity. And it breaks down the contractors and the profit margins that are there, and they're not very big. You know, I don't know if they were ever 20 or 25% or 15%, but these days it's only 3 to 5, maybe on a good day it might be 7. So we have to produce. My way of thinking was when I was on the tools, if we can do a 4-week job in 3 weeks, that gives my contractor more money to be more competitive on the next job. And that's if you want to be competitive, we have to produce. It's just way of life, I guess. Joining the union, I just had a guy in, I'm speaking of Cape Breton now, wanting to join the union, but he can't go to work for 2 months. And my way of thinking is, if I can save anybody money, especially in Cape Breton or northern Nova Scotia, where we're struggling a little bit for work, this member to be couldn't work until April. And we took all his records and we put it in a file and said, listen, we're not going to, our books are always open. We're not going to take you into the union because you're going to pay union dues for the first 2 or 3 months and get nothing out of it. Save your money, come back in April. We'll guarantee you, you're in the union. That's the way I think. If we can save our people and our members money, that's the way I go. Might not be all the way across all unions. We have an organizing rate. If we bring a contractor in, we bring everybody in for $110. I try to bring everybody in for $110, and I get my knuckles wrapped every once in a while, but it's all about our members. It's not like it was years ago where the unions were the big bad wolf and all that. It's not that way no more. We're part of the industry. We want to be a part of the industry. We want to be a part of the public and get along and produce good people, good tradespeople. If you were a member in the past and you've let your dues go into arrears, we have a project called Project X. It's for ex-members. You fill out a form. Basically, we want to know why you left. And most times it's because there's no work. And that's fine. If there's no work, sometimes you can't pay your bills, and obviously your dues are part of your bills. We like to write that down, just document it. If there's a problem, maybe the business rep was not very nice that day. Well, we'd like to address that stuff. But what we do charge for previous members that are gone into arrears is $240. That covers all union dues for a year. There's no administration costs, so it's basically $20 a month for 12 months. And if there's any issues with joining for financial, come and see us. The way we look at it is there's no problems, only solutions. Yes, sir.
Say if we did start work, say if I did start work,
Yes.
how long would it take me to get into you?
Yeah. If you wanted to join today, and the paperwork was done, you're in today. Yes. No, that's the carpenters union. Most unions are the same, but there's some unions that have their doors closed. We can never ever promise you that you're going to get rich. Most people who are pretty skilled and have a great attitude, they can make a good, decent living at it. There's ups and downs. Every industry has ups and downs, and we're, like the panel mentioned, there's a lot of hopefully jobs going to be coming to northern Nova Scotia.
Like I mentioned earlier, right? Crane operator by trade.
Yes.
But I don't have my class 3, so I can't join the union. So how would that work?
I can't speak for the OEs. I don't know why they wouldn't take you. I can get you hooked up with the proper people if you want to speak to them, or if you give me your name, I don't mind calling.
Like, that's one of the things I don't like about the union is that because it's not thought itself
Yes.
What was it, $16,000 for the crane course itself, right? Then it would be probably another $12,000 for the truck course, right? And who could afford that?
No, well, that's not the way we operate with the Carpenters Union. And I hear you, and I'm on your side. I don't agree with that. No, the Carpenters Union, we represent millwrights, scafflers, and carpenters. Yeah.
So I could argue that too, being a rigger, right?
Yes. That's when they were mentioning rigging and crane work, and carpenters do rigging too, right? It's absolutely. Our doors, you know what? Our doors are open. Like I said, to us, I've been 10 years in the role that I am now, 20 years on the tools. There's no problems, only solutions, and that's the way I operate. And Jeff Richardson from the mainland is pretty similar. He's got about 2 years as a business rep here, and he's a very nice fella, easy to get along with, and that's the way there's no problems, only solutions. And it's sometimes we got to go one way or the other a little bit to accommodate, but that's like I said, it's not 1970 no more. The unions aren't the big bad wolf like they used to be.
Like, I don't mean to be, losing on, like, what the wages for carpenters?
Sorry? The carpenters, a complete package for a journeyman, total package would be, now in Cape Breton's 46, I think it's 46 and change. The mainland is probably about 50 cents behind us, so we're around $46. Now that's your health and wellness, your pensions. What you see on your paycheck is around $33 plus 9% for vacation pay.
So if you had the red seal, you'd work
Red seal is the ideal way to go. That's what we push for, but we have, myself, I'm not a red seal, but I've been a journeyman for probably 12 years or 15 years when I was on the tools. Right? So I get paid the same as a journeyman because I have the experience and the hours behind me.
So I would say like a red seal would be $46. Say a carpenter that did not have his red seal would be where?
The same. If he's a journeyman, if he has the hours of experience. The laborers are $2 or $3 behind us, I believe. $2 or $3 behind us. Well, that's, if you want to get into that issue, that's a whole different topic. That's, yeah.
Go ahead.
Who's that laughing? Howie, all right. Yes, sir. Yes. The union can't sponsor you to be indentured in the apprenticeship. That's probably the best way to go because in construction, you can have multiple employers in a year or every, you got to go where the work is. So the easiest thing is to let the union sponsor you, and we can certainly do that. You can go with a contractor, that's your choice, but if you go with one contractor and 6 months later you're with another one, or 2 years down the road you're with another one, if it's with the union, then we have all your records and whatnot, right? Yes, sir.
I'm a carpenter by trade.
Yes.
Now, if I want to jump over to drywall, then that's not a problem.
Not a problem.
Okay, now, would I have to join the interest union to do that?
We do the drywalling.
Yeah, well, that's anything. That's not.
Well, that would be, now, I don't know the politically correct answer for that. I'll give you my answer, but Howie might have another answer. I don't mind you doing it, but there is a business rep for the painters who might have a problem with it. If you're with me, absolutely. Now I know he might give me a kick in the butt when I leave the building, but it is a different trade. But we do it. We do it on the odd time, but it's you might have a visit from the painter's rep.
Yeah, you could have no problems with person one.
It's in our constitution where you're not supposed to, but the way we look at it, if it has nothing to do with our work, like laborers sometimes overlap us, and we're okay with that on the odd time, but when they're wearing a pouch and doing our work all the time, yeah, we don't want you in both. Painters, they overlap a little bit, but the painters represent also. He's a very nice fella, and he's easy to get along with. And we do work with him. Now, if you're going to patch a hole in a wall, and you're putting drywall on it, and it takes you half an hour to do it, and 20 minutes to paint it, you can't go around getting 4 or 5 people to do that. It's not cost effective. I don't know if that answers your question. If my opinion, I'm happy with whatever you want to do. Any other questions? There is a probational article in the collective agreement. I was trying to read it, and I don't have my glasses. I believe it's 1,000 hours. I could be wrong on that, but in this project here, if you weren't sure you want to be a union member, but you wanted to try it, and Lindsay's wanted to hire you, we would certainly work with that. Yes, sir.
What you mentioned, though, of course, the tilt-up would be great.
It's you know what, I've done a few tilt-ups myself, and it's really nice work. The more detail, the better it is. That I liked details, the reveals and all that, and making sure they all line up. And talking to Howie, there's not a whole lot of detail in it, but it is nice, clean work. I don't believe we have enough time, but I can certainly look at that. If you're 2 or 3 weeks out for starting your tilt-ups, but on on a go-forward basis, that's something we will try. I just can't see it, but on a maybe next time or
Really, if you look at it for safety purposes,
yes, yes,
people would know beforehand.
yes. We in the Carpenters Union, we do a lot of skills training, and it's really, really hard to get our members out to take skills training. If you're laid off, go take as much as you can. The more letters you had behind your name, the more work you're going to have. If you're a finished carpenter, if you're a framing carpenter, if you can tilt ups, it baffles me why members don't come and take as much training as they possibly can.
Would you have to be a carpenter to take this training?
Yes. Yeah. You have to be. Yeah. Join the Carpenters Union. If I would have known, I would have brought the paperwork. And it's $20 a month. All your safety courses will be looked after, and all the skills that are available, you can go and take them for $20 a month. And if there's work, that's even a bonus. We don't cover residential work, and we have commercial and industrial, and not a lot, but a few of our members are mostly into residential work, but they're union members because of the safety training and the skills training. And frankly, there's not a whole lot of commercial work around here, as you probably know. And Cape Breton's the same way. Halifax is booming. We get the odd school or the odd building here or there. It's a good opportunity, I believe, anyway.